Have you guys been trying to learn Terry in Street Fighter 6, but you've been struggling and you don't know where to start? I got you. I'm a pretty decent 16 to 1700 MR Terry player that has won a few of my local tournaments with this character, and I want to share some of my knowledge about this character with you. Let's do it. Alright, so for starters, we're just going to go and start talking about some of his normals. So, Terry's normals are pretty decent. Nothing to write home about. Some of them are a little bit slower than desired, obviously. A lot of people probably mentioned this heavy kick, which is definitely could be a bit faster. I could definitely appreciate it being a little bit faster. But anyway, let's start talking about his light jab. So, standing light punch right here. Pretty standard jab. We got a 4-framer right here. Obviously, this is about as simple as a Shoto jab can get. Decent range, no Chun-Li crap like with super good range or anything like that, but it's pretty standard. You know, you can use it, jail it into stuff. Definitely can get some usage out of this move. The main thing I end up doing with this is getting a hit and confirming into more, and usually doing like a DP or something like that. One of the more common routes you can do is hit confirming it into a crouch and going into light medium burn knuckle. But speaking of that move, we also have another 4-framer down here. Now this does not hit low, but this is his crouching light jab right here, which is another move. This one is probably going to be used more often. Now the hitbox on these are slightly different, where you can see that standing goes a little bit further, but crouching is going to be used a lot more for comboing, specifically off of burn knuckle. So one of his best specials, which we're going to touch on a little bit later, burn knuckle right here, especially medium, is just a good option overall, but it cannot be comboed off of the light standing jab. It's only crouching. So, boom. All right, now let's talk about standing medium punch. So standing medium punch is honestly a pretty good move and pretty similar to the stand light punch. You can't exactly combo with this move like you think you would. Like, it's not really gonna hit confirm like medium punch into crouch medium or anything like that like some other characters can do. But this move instead, what it's gonna do is it's going to be a combo tool, and it's kind of a replacement for his heavy punch. So his heavy punch in this game is pretty abysmal, honestly. Other than the fact that recently we got plus frames for this, so obviously you can get plus frames off of hitting this move on block, which is really nice, but the range is not very good, you know? So what people end up doing is they kind of end up using stand medium punch instead. So yeah, I definitely recommend using this move to drive rush in. You can hit opponents right there. Decent 7 frames, not too slow. I like this move. I think it's pretty good. And it is obviously the link into all of his target combos, you know, stuff like this, which you actually are going to be using a lot. His target combos are incredibly useful, especially this one. Now let's talk about crouch medium punch. So crouch medium punch is, like some of the other moves previously, a very standard Shoto crouch medium punch, and by that I mean this move is super good. Main usage of this move, obviously, is to, you can confirm it into combos and stuff like that, off of like drive rush, you can go into like heavy, stuff like that. But I actually really think the best usage of this is to take care of whiff punishing opponents when your heavy kick is too slow. So like if they throw and you can't react fast enough for a heavy kick, you can use crouch medium punch because the range on this is just like Bison's. It's pretty dang strong and it's pretty easy to combo into. And the other best usage for this, in my opinion, is to punish drive rush. So it's a really good drive rush check that you can use to punish the opponent when they're drive rushing at you, and then obviously you can combo after if you get a hit. Boom, right? Now let's talk about heavy punch. Now heavy punch, like I mentioned previously, this move recently got buffed, and thankfully now if you hit an opponent with this move on block, you do get plus frames, so it is nice to have +1. This is definitely something that helps out Terry. Not a ton, but it's still pretty useful. I do think this move, however, is usually something that you're going to use specifically for like frame trapping people, so very specifically for punishing people who are trying to mash on your attacks and stuff like that. So for instance, you know, like they're mashing light jab or something after you're heavy, and you can, you know, frame trap them, punish them like that. So because obviously you have medium punch, which has much better range, so for the standard like Shoto usage of a heavy punch, that's like a far ranging normal that you can throw out, typically you're not using this move because it just really doesn't go that far. So I tend to either use it in up close scenarios like something like this, or as a drive rush option, because it does give you a lot of good setups, but you have to actually get in and use it. So I would save it for situations that you can guarantee that you're getting in with this move, rather than just going across the full screen and guessing, because, I mean, obviously the range is not great, so you might get punished, you know? Alright, now let's talk about crouch heavy punch. Now, crouch heavy punch is a little bit different. The range on this move looks a lot worse than it actually is, and that's because it doesn't really, the hurt box on this is actually better horizontally sometimes. So obviously one of the main usages for this move is as a pretty standard, down heavy anti-air option that most of the Shotos have in this game. I would say this is one of the worst ones, but if you time it, it can be pretty decent. It's just not as consistent as some of the other ones that you can find in this game. But I will say one of the main usages of down heavy punch is going to be traditionally for combo tools to get more damage. So like I mentioned previously, this heavy punch is not the best. And one of the other reasons for that is because unless you get the 2 hits out of this heavy punch, yes, it does hit 2 times, you don't get that full 800 damage. And that's really hard to do normally because, as you can tell right here, you can't really combo after that normally. It would specifically have to be like a drive rush or like a punish counter or something like that to make it work. And that's the only way you get the 800 damage. Meanwhile, you have the down heavy punch, which immediately the first hit gives you 800. The only difference with this is that it is harder to combo into some of your bigger moves. So if you want to do a heavy into a heavy off a down, you can't exactly do that because you need to have more plus frames because of the recovery. So you're going to have to drive rush in, or it's going to have to be a punish counter, for instance. And this is where Terry sometimes loses some damage if you're drive rushing in or you're just hitting a standard heavy punch. Because off of a normal hit heavy punch, most of the time you are going to just have to go off of the straight 1 hit rather than 800 to cancel into another heavy, which you're not going to get as much damage. So yeah, that's something that Terry struggles with every once in a while, but you can make usage of some of his other moves in combo situations too. I think the deal with this, though, is that you're not as focused mid-screen sometimes in these situations on damage, and you should be more focused on getting Oki and pushing the opponent to the corner, where there you can do a lot more damage. Alright, now let's talk about some of Terry's kick moves. So, we have light kick. Standing light kick, in my opinion, is also another pretty standard Shoto move. It's very similar to Ryu and Ken's. However, I would not say that it is quite as good, but it's still very usable. The only reason why I don't think it's quite as good is because there's a little bit less of options to cancel it off to. There's no Tatsumaki for him to cancel into. Obviously, he can try to do some of these moves like Power Charge or something like that. But yeah, for the most part, I would say it's still very usable, but it's probably going to end up being more for trying to get like a little confirm like out of the corner or something to like get out, or it's usually going to be used for combo options such as this option right here. Then we have crouch light kick, which is one of the first lows that we're going to be talking about today. This move I actually think is pretty dang good. Like I do use this move a lot, and you're going to end up using this move a ton when you're going for a low option because it's 5 frames, which is pretty quick, and you can drive rush into it and get a combo, which is very nice. So I wouldn't say that the range is crazy, but it's definitely very usable. So for instance, one of the more common options you'll see Terry's do with this is either up close, they will, get up close and then go for this move and combo into something else, or you can drive rush into it like this. And funnily enough, you can actually cancel that into a crouch medium punch and get a combo like this. So yeah, we'll talk more about the combos later, but that's just, an example of how this move can be used. So yeah, it's pretty good. Then we got crouch medium kick, which is the God button. When Terry first came out, one of the first things that people were actually talking about was how that this was like the 3rd best crouch medium kick in the game, which if you guys know, for Shotos, is the whole game. Crouch medium kick drive rush is incredible. It is basically these whole characters things. It's the whole character's like toolkit basically. Like it's all wrapped around that usually. And him having a good one honestly allows him to get away with a lot of things that his other options weren't great. This makes up for a lot of that. And yeah, I use this move a ton. It can be canceled into a ton. It has a target combo after it, which is super nice. And honestly, this target combo ends up being one of the most used things in my bag of tricks when it comes to this character. So yeah, you can cancel special moves. It's super useful. Definitely take advantage of using this move to poke out and, punish them with a low. Meanwhile, this light kick I traditionally use for like a quicker like reaction, like boom, drive rush into it. Or if I'm up close, something like that. But yeah, this move's crazy. If you're just like at the end of this range, you can just throw this out and get in. It's crazy. All right, then we have his sweep, crouch heavy kick. I think this is one of the worst Shoto sweeps in my opinion. It's just the recovery is really slow, and obviously they nerfed sweeps, so like most sweeps are really bad right now. But I just I don't know. I don't like the range of this move too much. I think you're better off using crouch medium kick because like it's like not too different of range, honestly. Like honestly. Like, it really hits about the same range. So I don't see too much of a reason for this other than very specific setups where you're trying to sweep and then, like, get in with a mix. But yeah, I don't end up using it too much, honestly. Now, I realize we went a little bit backwards with some of these moves, so now we're going to go back to some of our standing moves that we didn't talk about. For instance, we have standing medium kick. This is another one of the god buttons. Surprisingly enough, both of his medium kicks are what I would consider the god buttons. Stand medium kick has very good range, and my favorite poke with this character, obviously medium punch is very strong as well, but medium has some pretty unique properties. For instance, it is very easily comboable after confirmed. For instance, you can do stand light kick, and then do a little power charge, and you got a whole little combo right here. You can cancel into this. You can do one of these. Yep, and both of those lead to setups, which is really nice. So yeah, I use this move a lot. And one of the more talked about things that this move does, which I'm sure a lot of people have probably seen, is that on counter hit, you can actually hit confirm this into a level 1, which is really unique. I think this is a great option. I don't go for it a ton, but it is fun to fish for this option and get it sometimes. Alright, now we have his last of his normals, which is going to be his standing heavy kick. So I've heard a lot of people complain about this move because it's a little bit slower than it could be, honestly. I think the range on this move is really good, and if you get really comfortable with whiff punishing people with this move, you can hit them from really far away, and honestly I find it to be a very strong move if you're very confident in using it. But again, it does take a lot of time because, like I said previously, it could be a little bit faster, and so yeah, I would definitely play around with this move, but traditionally, like I said previously, this is going to be your whiff punish move. So if you go for a shimmy or something like that, for instance, like this situation, that's the move you're going to go for. The combo options off of this are traditionally just going to be like your standing medium punch, heavy kick target combo, which is like this. You can get a lot more stuff, but that's like the main thing that you'll probably end up seeing people do. But yeah, this move is as simple as it gets. It's just a long-reaching normal that is traditionally used for whiff punishing, so you know they throw out an option that's easily punished. It's a far-reaching normal that has a lot of recovery. You throw this bad boy out and you punish him. Alright, so I want to talk about some of his aerial moves. There's a lot of guys that don't talk about that too much. I'm not going to go into detail about all of his aerial moves. I'm just going to talk about the ones that I think are usable. For instance, you have his jumping medium kick, which is very strong as a cross-up option. This is just traditionally the option that I'm going to use as this character to cross up the opponent. And yeah, I like this move. You can cancel it into crouch medium punch, stuff like that. So yeah, it's a pretty usable move. I can definitely see people using this. You can even go into heavy. So yeah, very strong. On top of that, we also have jump medium punch, which I don't use to hit the opponent too much when they're on the ground. I think the timing, look how hard the timing is. You know, like that doesn't look very good. But, however, if the opponent is jumping, this is a really good move. Especially if you time it, because you can actually get a combo. You can do like a little burn knuckle after. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff you can do after this move if you get comfortable with the timing, and you can do some pretty crazy stuff. Other than that, we have his jump heavy punch, which is going to be a really strong option to get in. You're going to find that his jumping heavy kick is going to have much better range when it comes to getting in. But yeah, I would say that jump heavy kick has much better range. But, you know, they both have their usages, you know. Like, I would use jump heavy punch if I'm coming from straight down, something like that, to, like, punish, like, a throw or something like that. It's pretty good. Other than that, I don't tend to use a lot of these jump normals too much. Obviously, there is usages for jump light. Like, if you immediately react with someone jumping out of the corner, you can do that. And same with medium punch as well, though. But, yeah, I wouldn't talk about too many of the other ones. I don't think jump light kick is too usable. There's probably usages, but I haven't found anything for them. All right, let's finally get on to specials. So, Terry's specials, right? So, Terry, similar to a lot of the other shows in this game, he does have a fireball. And his is one of the most unique ones in this game. So, Terry actually has a grounded fireball with very different varying speeds. So, his light one, obviously, everybody's seen is pretty dang slow, but it goes full screen. Very nice fireball. Honestly, yeah, I really think that this fireball is very useful as an option, and you'll probably end up using it a lot because like you can like drive rush after it, you know. Like other than that, it's just good to zone the opponents out and you know play fireball wars with. I like this move. But then we have his medium, which is insanely fast. Look how fast that is, and it ends way faster than the light, which goes like full screen. This can end like right in front of the opponent. And if you guys are wondering what to do with this move other than to use it for up close pressure, it is to trick the opponent. So as you can tell, if I'm throwing out fireballs here, one of the most common things that people are going to do is they're going to try to parry them, right? They don't want to take drive gauge damage for this. They want to parry it. It's an easy thing that you can do to respond. You get like a perfect parry. Here's the trick though. The thing is, if you space this out with medium, you'll notice that it misses right in front of the opponent, which is not even hard to do. You can be like back here and it'll still sometimes trick the opponent. Off of this, if the opponent reacts with like a parry or something like that, it's pretty easy to just drive rush and throw them. So yeah, just remember that. There is, you can definitely abuse these fireball patterns like this and trick the opponent. So yeah, I think these options are honestly really strong. And then we have heavy. Heavy is very interesting because it's actually not a fireball. It is considered a projectile, but it's not a fireball. And what this move does is it's actually going to be mainly used for plus frames and for combos. So it is kind of hard to like pressure into this, but if you are able to hit this move, you will notice that you're +5, which is insane. +5 is honestly incredible. Getting into this setup is honestly not even that hard either. Like one of the most common things you can do is just off like a heavy, like rising tackle, and just go right into it and it hits meaty. So yeah, I think the main thing with this move is trying to find times that you can pull this out without the opponent punishing you. So you definitely have to get smart with some of the times that you throw it out and not just walking up into the opponent and using it, because it's a 29 frame startup move, so it's pretty dang slow. But yeah, it is really useful for giving yourself that advantage that you need to mix the opponent. So yeah, that's what his fireballs do. They're very unique. One of them is literally not even a fireball. So yeah, it's super interesting, but definitely usable. But you have to use them very specifically. They don't work exactly like a Ryu and Ken's do. You have to be a little bit more creative with how you use them. Alright, so now we got Burn Knuckle, Quick Burn. So we're going to start with Quick Burn. Similar to his fireballs, how we saw his specials for Burn Knuckle also have variety, where that light right here does this. It's a little move that hits twice right there, and it actually hits overhead on the second hit. Then we have Burn Knuckle if you press medium and heavy, which are completely different moves. These moves have very different usages, and honestly I think the more useful ones that you're going to end up finding are going to be his Burn Knuckle. Now if you guys haven't seen already, Burn Knuckle can be spaced in a certain spot right there. You see the little screen shake, and it can give you plus frames. So depending on where you're standing on the screen and depending on which knuckle that you do, so I'm going to do heavy right here, boom, screen shake, I got +5 frames right there. If I stand about right here, let me get it right here, I go medium, and there's my plus frames right there. So plus frames are depending on where you're standing on the screen. But yeah, this move is very good. I would definitely not spam it too much because obviously an opponent is comfortable with seeing this coming out. They can perfect parry it, but it is a very good like neutral skip option if you just want to cover this whole ground area right here. You just want to skip all this and get in and make it your turn. If you're comfortable enough with the spacing, this is an option that you have. And you can also mix up the opponent, right? Because you're plus here, so you can throw, you can jab, you can shimmy. So yeah, really good option. And heavy is going to be all the way like back here. I've seen this move punish like whiff options as well. There's a few situations that like if you shimmy, you can also like do this move as well, because 14 frames is still pretty quick. Considering that his heavy kick is 12, it's only 2 more. So yeah, really useful. Quick Burn, on the other hand, is mainly going to be used to trick more low-level opponents. So at the low level of this game, I would say anything from like, the bottom to maybe like diamond, this move would still be pretty useful if you mix it up with certain options. For the most part though, this move is kind of unreliable once people know what it is, because it has a very unique animation that people can get pretty used to. They see the 2 blue fists going up and down. They will know the second hit is an overhead, and unfortunately, if you do this move and the opponent blocks it, you're very easily punished as you are -5 frames. So all they need to do is hit you with a 4 or 5 frame normal, and you will get punished. So yeah, it is not an incredibly useful move, but at lower rank you can use it to mix up opponents. And yeah, one of the more useful things out of this move, if you actually do get a hit though, is it's pretty easy to get a throw immediately after. So yeah, definitely use that. Or you can shimmy, like you have a bunch of options off of this. So yeah, if it does work, it is very useful, but actually getting it to work is a little bit difficult. All right, now let's talk about this man's crack shoot. So crack shoot right here is a pretty interesting move that you're probably not going to be using too much other than for combos and to get over fireballs. So it's a little unreliable. As you can tell, I did get over that fireball, but it is kind of hard. The thing is, like on reaction, you can't exactly just crack shoot over a fireball. You know, like, unless it's like a light fireball, but traditionally people aren't throwing those out as often. It's usually more like a heavy fireball to try to, like, you know, push you down. And on reaction, this is really hard to get over, unless you're, like, basically full screen. But if you did that, let's say I'm right here and I actually do react to it, this is going to be hard. Can't do it. Yeah, I can't even do it over here, you know? Like, this is one of the more usage... this is what I thought this move was going to be used for, but you really can't do it too much. So traditionally what you're going to be using this move for is if you want to get in on the opponent, similar to Burn Knuckle right here, but you want a safer option to get in. The only difference with this move is that if you do use this and you get in, you are safe, but it's not your turn. You are -1, so it is now the opponent's turn. So I would not recommend just skipping neutral constantly using this move because it just takes away your turn. And it's nice, maybe it does cover some distance, but if the opponent sees this move coming, especially the heavy crack sheet right here, they can get a pretty easy drive impact on reaction and just punish you. So yeah, I traditionally end up using these moves much more just for combos. In the corner, you'll see a lot of people make usage of his like, medium one to get a little extended combo right here. So yeah, they have usages, but I traditionally end up using them for combos and stuff like that. Light, on the other hand, I don't really get much usage out of this move. I'd say it's a decent option up close, maybe, to throw off the opponent. I don't know. Sometimes I throw out this special to try to bait them out to do something, like maybe they thought I was going to jump. I've tried to find usages for it, but I don't think it's the most useful thing, so I wouldn't use it too much. Honestly, I'd save this move more traditionally for combos and stuff like that. Alright, so now we're almost done. We're going to talk about his Power Charge. So Power Charge is another special right here, which you're really not going to be using. If you thought you weren't going to be using the other specials in neutral, you're really not going to be using this one because this one is insanely minus on block, and it will basically only be used for combos. Look at that, -10. And it's honestly not that fast. 25 frames just to get that fast when you could just do it with Burn Knuckle and get plus frames. Yeah, don't ever throw this move out in neutral. You're going to be super minus. This is traditionally just going to be used for combos. So for instance, that is one of the more common starters off a heavy hit, which you'll go for the heavy one. You also have the medium one, which can give you a little safe jump setup right here. Yeah, they are basically just used for combos. I think this move is pretty easy to understand. When you see this move, you're almost always going to just see Terry doing it after another hit into a combo. So yeah, pretty standard move. It hits once, it knocks him up in the air. There's a few like, you know, tricks you can do with this move, especially they just added a recent update to it where you can do it in the corner, get some more damage. But yeah, it's mainly just a combo tool. It's a pretty fun one though. Alright, last but not least, for his special moves, we have the Rising Tackle. So this is one of the more unique DPs in this game where that its range is kind of weird because it just goes straight up into the air. Part of me likes this move and part of me doesn't. And the reason for that is because, meanwhile, it is 5 frames incredibly fast for an anti-air, one of the best ones I've ever seen. The area that it hits is not incredible. It's not bad. I can get away with using this anti-air a ton. Like, I can, if I get comfortable with this move, you can get away with it a lot. But let's say the opponent, like, baits you out. Let's say they do, like, a jumping straight up and you try to punish that. They can get an immediate punish after, you know? So it's like, this move is okay, but if you get really comfortable with using it, it can become pretty decent. Then we have medium, which just goes a little bit further, and then there's heavy, which just goes a little bit further than that. And yeah, I think this is pretty useful. I would say that you have to be a little bit smart with your uses of this though, because I do end up sometimes, if I mistime the medium, sometimes I end up going in front of the opponent, and then I get punished. So yeah, definitely be smart with your uses. I would for the most part just start with light, and if they start doing jumps further away, then you can start throwing in medium and heavy and stuff like that. So now that we've talked about all of our specials, I want to talk about the EX or OD properties of these moves. So for Terry, they're a little unique because he actually has a few different ones for some of his moves. For instance, when we talk about Burn Knuckle and Quick Burn, they each actually have their own OD moves. So based off which moves you press. So if I do a light and a medium punch with OD together, you get this right here, which is a powered up Quick Burn. This move I actually probably use even more than standard Quick Burn because you can actually combo like into level 2, which makes this move very strong. Look at that damage. And then if you do a light and heavy or a medium and heavy, you are going to get Boom, right here, an OD bird knuckle, which is another move that can be canceled into supers. Pretty useful. Traditionally going to see it in, for level 3 mid screen, or in the corner. You can get like level 2 or something like that. So yeah, this move's pretty good. Again, a lot of this stuff does traditionally end up just being combo tools, except for this quick burn. I actually do think this is a pretty decent mix-up tool if you are able to put the opponent into a situation. For instance, this is one of my favorites. So you get a little setup right there. If they don't block it, boom, get a nice little combo with a ton of damage. You have to spend some meter, but it's very worth it if it's going to be used to kill. Then we have his crack shoot, which I really like. I think this one is incredibly useful for combos as well. I traditionally end up using this option very often in mid-screen to get just a little bit extra damage into my level 3. Look at that. Pretty standard combo, and you really do get a lot of damage for this. Obviously his corner, he's going to get even more, but like, look at that. 53? That's pretty dang good. And honestly, it's not too hard of a combo. There's more stuff you can do like this as well. Like, you can do it immediately off of this. It's just a good move to throw out instead of like drive rush canceling, so you can get more damage. It just scales it nicer, it does more. Alright, then we have OD Power Charge. OD Power Charge is pretty interesting. The truth is, OD Power Charge actually does have some pretty nice usages. I mean, look how far it goes on the screen. Like you can push the opponent all the way down here. I think for corner carry, this move's pretty good. Let's say you just want to cover some distance. You can throw this down to a combo and push down. Pretty good. You honestly go really far with that. But, I think that could be a good usage for this if you don't want to spend, like, maybe this meter over here. You don't want to do this. Thing is, this is basically the same thing for more damage. Yeah, this move's interesting. I would say that most people end up using it for, like, corner carry and stuff like that. Because, for the most part, I don't see myself using this move too much. I would say that there's definitely usages for it, but it's a move that you have to be a lot more creative with. I would say that it's probably going to end up being more used for very specific setups. For instance, one of the main usages that I like to use for this move is for characters who, let's say I'm in the corner and I want to cross the opponent up. One of the more standard options that Terry can do is he has this little combo right here. Boom, and he can cross at the opponent and put them in the corner. For bigger body characters like Blanca, Zangief, and stuff like that who are too big, he actually can't do this combo. That's where this move would actually come into play. We can do a setup like this, and that crosses up as well. He does have to spend meter for it, but he has another option for those other characters. So yeah, I traditionally just use it for setups and things like that. But definitely, I'm sure as time progresses, there will be more setups that use this to get like decent corner carry and stuff like that. But currently, I traditionally use some of the more standard route combos. But yeah, it's a pretty good move overall. Alright, then we have OD Rising Tackle, which I don't feel the need to talk about too much. It's a pretty standard OD DP. Does a little bit more damage, it has, a little bit more range up in the air, obviously it's easier to punish, and it's invincible. So yeah, it's a pretty standard one. I would use this as your OD reversal option. I don't want to wake up. Pretty good option for OD reversal. It's nice that he has one like most Shotos. I think for the most part, it is a pretty standard one, but definitely very usable. Alright, now I want to talk about Terry's target combos. So Terry actually has a lot of target combos. A lot of characters kind of just have like one or two. He has a lot. So let's start with one of his more commonly used ones, which is going to be Medium Punch into Heavy Punch. This one I do really like, and main usage of this one is going to be to push the opponent back on hit, and on block it's going to be used to set yourself safe and to set up a spacing trap. So for instance, let's say that they block this move, and I set them on their wake up to do maybe like a crouch medium punch, like maybe they think that they're close enough to hit me. It would look something like this. Boom, you can get a little spacing trap right there and punish them. So yeah, I like this move a lot. I think it's very usable, and it has a usage on hit and block, which makes it very nice, So yeah, I think it's a good move. And I use this target combo a lot, because it's a safe one. Any target combo that leaves you unsafe, I don't traditionally use too much. So then we're going to talk about his other one off his medium punch, which is going to be if you go medium punch into heavy kick, heavy kick. Now this one, as you can tell, it did not combo right there in that first hit, and that is because it takes so long to get into the second hit that the only way to actually really combo into this is off a punish counter or drive rush. Traditionally, you'll kind of just be seeing this target combo in very specific combo routes. For instance, one of my favorites is off of this mid-screen. I do tend to use this one a lot, and I think it's very strong. Alright, one of his other moves, it's not exactly a target combo, but a unique attack, is going to be his overhead, which is forward heavy punch. Forward heavy punch is very strong as an overhead option. I think it's not the fastest option in the game when it comes to overheads, but hey, it's an overhead option, and it's not Lily's. So as long as it's not Lily's, it's good. I like this move. I use it a lot for a lot of my setups, and you can meaty into it pretty easily off of just like a medium burn knuckle drive rush. Like, yeah, it's really good. Combo potential is good on this one as well. I think this is a very useful option that I end up using pretty often. All right, now we got two more to talk about. One of these I'm not going to go too much into detail, and that is mainly because it's kind of useless. Now this move right here, the passing sway, has a few different things you can do off it. It's a medium punch and medium kick, and after that, depending on what you press, as you can tell right here, after passing sway, you have two different options. You can do medium punch, and you can do medium kick. Now, how these moves work is that the medium punch is going to cross up and hit from the other side, for instance, and then you have the medium kick, which stays on this side and it tricks the opponent. I'm going to be real. I don't think this move is very usable. Unless you are confirming into this in a very specific situation to maybe get like a cross up in the corner, there really isn't too many times that you're going to throw this move out. Especially because if this first hit is blocked, the whole combo doesn't even work. Like, it won't even go into the target combo. And on hit, usually there's just better options for you to do than this. So yeah, I don't traditionally use this too much. The only thing to really like write home about here is that, you know, with the medium punch at least, hold on. At least with the medium punch here, you can get, you know, +3 frames right there, which is pretty nice. So, I mean, if you want to mix this in every once in a while, it could be pretty useful, but I do think it's pretty reactable, and I don't see a lot of Terrys using this. I will in the future try to find some options that you can use out of this, because I do want to utilize everything out of this character, but for now, I think really the only person utilizing this is like Riddles. So yeah, it's a pretty cool option though, just needs more. Alright, then we have my favorite out of his target combos, which is going to be a crouch medium kick into a crouch heavy kick. This one right here is going to be used for a ton of different things, mainly setups and for corner carry. So after this, you can combo into specials, as you can tell right there, and a lot of these are really good. You know, almost all of these that I just showed you are going to give you free meaty setups or free Oki. Look at this. Like, look at that corner carry. It's insanely good. So yeah, I definitely use these a lot, and the only problem with this move is that if an opponent is to block this, you are very minus, and canceling into a special can be punished. So if you do this crack shoot right here to try to get yourself safe, you can be punished, because all they have to do is a light jab in between this, and you will be easily punished. If you try to do quick burn, obviously that's punishable as well. So one of the only safe things you can do off of this if they block these first two hits is to cancel into drive rush, light jab. If you do crouch light jab right there, you will do a little frame trap right there, and you can punish opponents who are trying to punish you for doing one of these options. So yeah, I would say traditionally don't spam this move if they know to block it, because obviously every time that they block it, you're going to have to spend 3 bars to get in, and yeah, it's not the best situation. But if you are able to get yourself in a situation where you know for a fact that they're not blocking low, then this is super usable. So for instance, let's say like full screen, you know, you get a hit already. If there's already a hit confirmed, then it's a lot easier to just go right into this, you know, or just, you know, that they're not crouching low. Boom, go in and hit. So yeah, there's the combo potential for this one is probably the main thing, and the setup potential is really good. But it is very useful, just don't overuse it if they get good at blocking it. Then Terry obviously has his 2 throws, forward throw, which I think is pretty useful, and we have back throw right here. I think traditionally the one I end up using the most is probably forward throw. If the opponent has a habit of rolling back, which is something that a lot of opponents do online, you can throw out a perfectly spaced medium fireball to end right in front of their face that they will pretty commonly end up parrying, and then you can drive rush and throw, which is very nice. Back throw is more mainly just going to be used, obviously, if like you're in the corner or something like that, and you want to put them in the corner, stuff like that. But I haven't really found too many OP like setups or anything off of this. But it's still a good move. It throws them pretty far if you want to get some distance. It's no Ken back throw, but it's still pretty good. Alright, so now let's talk about some of this dude's supers. So, how this man's supers work are a little more unique than some of the other characters in this game. So first we'll talk about one of the ones that's not as unique, and that is just his level 1. Level 1, which is just double quarter circle forward kick. Boom. And you get that move right there. It was super fun animation on this one. I love the animation on this one. It's one of my favorites. Are you okay? Plus the wolf. Super clean. I think this is a pretty decent level 1. The distance on this is really good that it covers. Like, it almost goes full screen. Not exactly, but it does have some pretty good distance that it can follow. So you can actually use this to whiff punish people. And yeah, I like this for the damage. And you can even do it like out of very... it's very easy to combo into as well. Obviously, you saw before, you can basically do this off of like any of those other routes that I showed you. Boom. Very easy to combo into. Level 2 is one of the more unique supers in this game. And the reason for that is because you can spend your other resources to make it stronger. So normal hit of level 2 is just going to be a 1 hit, does pretty good damage. But if you press 2 of your punch buttons multiple times during this, you will spend drive gauge, and then you will spend 1 bar of meter, and you can get insane damage off of this. So the interesting thing about this level 2 is that it's actually more damaging than his level 3 in specific situations. So with the right combo setup, this level 2 with all your meter does way more damage than your level 3 actually does. And because of that, the way that you will traditionally use this level 2 is if you definitely know that you're going to kill the opponent and you want to spend all of your meter to take them out, that's traditionally what you're going to end up using this for. Level 3, on the other hand, is going to be more if you think you could kill with level 3 but you don't want to put in the effort for the level 2, or if you are burnt out or something like that and you want to get meter back. Obviously level 3 is going to be very useful for that because level 3s usually do give you a lot more drive gauge damage than level 2, and it lets you heal a lot of your drive gauge back. So yeah, there's still, like I said, I know I said that level 2 does more damage than level 3, but the usages for them are still very different. So for instance, level 3 is still going to be a very standard level 3. You're going to use it probably a lot more than level 2. But if there is a situation that you have all of the meter in the world and you are set up perfectly to take someone out with that level 2, you do it. Now we've touched on basically everything I wanted to talk about in this video. So the last thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you a few basic combo routes that I recommend learning when you're starting this character. A lot of these are not the most optimal routes, but they're the ones I end up using a lot, and they're pretty easy to start with when it comes to learning this character. Off of light hits, we already talked about the 2 different routes you can go, which is off of standing light hits. You can go for a few different hits into a heavy rising tackle, which is very strong. And off of low, you traditionally will go into medium burn knuckle, which is very good. Boom, something like that. Medium hits are pretty easy at chaining into other medium hits. So for instance, you can also do medium into medium burn knuckle. You can do medium into medium power charge and stuff like that. I would say that traditionally off of medium, one of the more common things you're going to do is just go straight into burn knuckle, or you're going to do this medium power charge and jump in for a safe jump setup. Heavy punch, one of the most common options that you can do, one of the most basic combos in this game, is to just combo all your special moves together in this order. Boom, boom, boom. And that's going to be a heavy punch into heavy power charge. Then after the heavy power charge, you cancel that into heavy crack shoot, and then heavy rising tackle. In the corner, the best option is going to be to throw out a round wave after your heavy power charge. And after that round wave, now with the new update, you can do a medium power charge and get a heavy rising tackle after. Then one of the more common options you're going to see when you're fishing for a medium hit is off of your medium hit, you can do a stand light kick and cancel that into a light power charge like this. And after that, you can actually go for one of the first combos that I showed you. For instance, and the other one. Off of your low forward option, the thing that I traditionally see people do the most is this. With the update, you can actually do a new combo with a round wave as well, which does even more damage. I would say when you start off, I wouldn't recommend doing this combo immediately because it does take a lot of time to get down. The timing for this combo is very specific, and I would definitely recommend just getting more comfortable, consistent routes than focusing on this one. But eventually, once you get down, you can do this combo right here. Oh, yeah, that took me a little bit to do, just for a little bit extra damage. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend doing that at first. I would definitely recommend sticking to more simple confirms. Stuff like this, you know. Just keeping it simple, putting your specials together and getting some damage and pushing them to the corner. Lastly, I just want to show you the traditional way that Terry can cash out. You can do something like this to get into his level 2. So yeah, I don't want to go super into detail today on the combos. I just wanted to show you a few different starting routes that you can do. The next video that I will be making for Terry will be a combo video to show you all the recommended combos that I want to show you guys. All of the recommended combos that I recommend you guys actually use for this character and while you're learning him. But for now, there's still a lot to cover when it comes to those, and I'd rather save that for another video. So for now, this is going to be it. I hope this video helped you guys out. And yeah, that's going to be it for me today. So let me know what you guys thought in the comments below. Hopefully this video helped you out. And I'm going to be out of here. So, peace.